The day the doctor told Emma, "You'll never see again." She was only 17 years old and hadn't even achieved half of her dreams. But Emma never thought about giving up. Emma Rodriguez was born in a small town north of Chicago and had been dancing since she was 4 years old. While her father, Carlos, worked in an auto repair shop, her mother, Maria, tried to support the family working as a cashier at a grocery store. They were struggling financially, but when they saw Emma's passion, they decided to invest every penny in her. When her mother, Maria, first took little Emma to the dance studio, her teacher, Mrs. Patterson, immediately noticed her natural talent. "This girl is special," she told her mother. "Really special. But the classes are expensive, are you sure?" Maria's eyes filled with tears. "Yes, absolutely. We'll do everything for this girl." And she was special. While other children were trying to learn basic steps, Emma seemed to be born with music. Every movement was perfect. Every turn was fluid. When she entered her first competition at age 8, she came first. At 12, she won the state championship. Her family sat in the front row at every competition, watching proudly. Emma's room walls were filled with medals and trophies. But her most precious treasure was a photograph of Lincoln Center. Every night before bed, she would look at that photo and whisper, "One day I'll dance there." By the time she turned 16, she had received a full scholarship offer from Chicago Ballet Academy. That day at the studio, when Mrs. Patterson hugged Emma, she said, "You'll leave this town and see the world." Emma's dream was to dance at Lincoln Center, and this dream seemed more real with each passing day. But that terrible November night changed everything. Emma was walking home from school with her best friend, Sarah. She was especially happy that day because the acceptance letter from Chicago Ballet Academy had arrived. "Sarah, can you imagine? I'm a real ballerina now," she shouted among the snowflakes. Sarah smiled and replied, "You are always a real ballerina, Emma. Now everyone will just see it." Snow had started falling, making the streets slippery. Emma was trying to catch snowflakes as if dancing. "Look, the snowflakes are dancing too," she said, spinning toward Sarah. Just as they turned the corner, an out-of-control car was heading straight toward them. The driver was braking but couldn't stop due to the snow. Emma reflexively pushed Sarah to safety but herself. The last sound she heard was Sarah's scream. When she woke up in the hospital, she noticed the bandages around her head. Her head was throbbing and everything hurt. Her mother was holding her hand, crying, "Mija, you're awake. I was so scared, so scared. Mom, where am I? What happened? How's Sarah?" Emma's voice was hoarse. "Sarah's fine? She's safe and sound, worried about you. But you..." Maria's voice was trembling. Dr. Williams sat beside her with a serious expression. This experienced doctor always felt the same distress when he had to give bad news to young patients. "Emma, I have to give you some difficult news. The impact you received in the accident severely damaged your optic nerves. We tried surgery, but unfortunately your vision..." "No!" Emma's scream echoed through the corridors. She was shaking her head, as if this movement could change reality. "This can't be. I have my dance, my academy, my dreams." Dr. Williams continued calmly but firmly, "Emma, I know this is very difficult, but the optic nerves are completely severed. Modern medicine, unfortunately, cannot fix this. You're doing something wrong. Show me to other doctors. Take me to other hospitals." Emma was screaming frantically, but the reality was merciless. She had lost her sight completely. At 17, at the brightest moment of her life. The first months were terrible. Emma didn't want to leave her room. She wouldn't even touch her dance shoes. She would tear up letters from Chicago Ballet Academy without reading them and wouldn't answer phone calls. Everyone in the family tried to help her in different ways. Her father, Carlos, would try to play dance music for her after work, but Emma would cover her ears. "Stop, Dad. I don't need these anymore." Every day, her mother, Maria, would wait outside her door, saying, "Mija, dance is your life. Don't lose this." But Emma wouldn't even respond. Sometimes her little brother, Diego, would dance outside Emma's room, try to make her laugh. "Big sister, look how I'm dancing," he would say. But Emma would ignore even him. At nights, she couldn't sleep and constantly had nightmares. In her dreams, it was always the same scene. Snow falling, Sarah's scream coming, and everything being consumed by darkness. A month later, Mrs. Patterson came to visit. "Emma, we miss you. The studio isn't the same without you." Emma laughed bitterly. "Mrs. Patterson, I'm not a dancer anymore. I'm just a blind girl." "No, Emma, you're still the same Emma. Just what? Just that I can't see anything anymore? Can't perform on stage? My dreams are gone." Mrs. Patterson took a deep breath. This conversation was very upsetting for her, too. "Emma, maybe you can find different ways now." "Different ways? Am I going to be a blind ballerina? That's ridiculous." One day, Sarah came to visit. "Emma, I know it's hard, but—" she said, but Emma cut her off. "You think you know? Do you know what it's like to be blind? Do you know what it's like to have your dreams disappear in an instant?" Sarah quietly held her hand. "No, I don't know. But what I do know is that you're still Emma. And Emma never gives up." These words reignited that small light inside Emma. The next day, she left her room for the first time. She slowly made her way to the kitchen, taking each step carefully, trying to map everything in her memory, and then she heard it. Music coming from a neighbor's house. Chopin's Nocturne. Her feet began to move on their own. First just small steps, then she started dancing. "Emma?" Her mother stood in the doorway, tears in her eyes. "Mom," Emma turned around smiling. "Do you see? I can still dance." But the real challenges were just beginning. When she called her old dance teacher, Mrs. Patterson, the woman's answer was clear. "Emma, I'm so sorry, but you can no longer participate in group classes. This isn't safe." Emma's heart broke. But that night, she asked Sarah for help. "Research blind dancers for me," she said. Sarah spent hours researching and found him, Marcus Thompson, a man living in New York who had lost his sight at a young age but was now a professional dancer. When Emma reached out to Marcus, the man listened carefully to her story. "Emma," he said over the phone, "dance isn't done with sight. It's done with feeling. If you really want it, I can help you." For Emma to go to New York, her family made great sacrifices. Her father, Carlos, started working 2 jobs, and her mother also took an evening cleaning job. "My daughter will dance," Maria would say. "No one can stop her from this." Marcus's studio was a small place in the Bronx, but for Emma, it was like a palace. On the first day, she was very scared. She wasn't used to New York's sounds, cars, people, music. Everything seemed so chaotic. "Emma, welcome." Marcus's voice was warm and understanding. "I also lost my sight at age 12. Car accident." Emma was surprised. "But you're a professional dancer." "Yes, and you'll be too. But it won't be easy." Marcus led her to the center of the studio. "First rule, this studio is now your home. You'll learn every corner, every wall." The first lesson was terrible. Emma kept losing her balance, bumping into other dancers. Once she fell so hard that she got a bruise on her knee. Crying, she shouted, "I can't do it. This is impossible." Marcus sat beside her. "Emma, on my first day I fell 15 times. 15 times. But on the 16th try, I stayed on my feet." The other dancers were initially skeptical. Lisa, a talented 19-year-old dancer, whispered to Emma on the first day, "You can't survive here." David, the group leader, asked, "Marcus, why did you bring this girl?" But Marcus believed in Emma. He worked with her privately every day, showing patience. "Emma, listen to the music. Dancing isn't about seeing, it's about feeling." Emma practiced 8 hours a day, trying to memorize every inch of the studio. She didn't stop at home either, practicing in her living room for hours. Sometimes her mother would find her dancing at midnight. "Mija, don't tire yourself too much," Maria would say. "Mom, I have to do this. I must achieve this." 2 months later, Emma completed a full routine without falling for first time. Lisa applauded, saying, "I can't believe it. She really did it." David hugged her, saying, "Emma, you're incredible." But Emma wasn't satisfied yet. "This is just the beginning," she said. The real challenges are starting now. 6 months later, Marcus gave her the big news. Emma, there's an event at Lincoln Center, a disability pride show. I'm recommending you. Emma's heart was pounding wildly. Lincoln Center, her childhood dream. But at the same time, she was very scared. Marcus, what if I embarrass myself? What if I make mistakes? Emma, you're no longer at a level where you'll make mistakes. You're going to be amazing. But the preparation process was very difficult. Lincoln Center stage was huge, very different from the studio Emma was used to. She had to go there every day and learn every inch of the stage. The first day she stepped on stage, she had a panic attack. It's too big, too wide. I can't do this. Marcus calmed her down. Emma, remember, you're the little girl from Chicago with big dreams. Now you're standing in front of that dream. Emma said through tears. But I could see then, Marcus. Now everything is dark. No, Emma, you don't live in darkness anymore. You live with your own light. During the preparation process, they faced many difficulties. The stage lights confused Emma. The audience noise broke her concentration. One day during rehearsal, she made such a big mistake that the stage manager said, "This girl isn't ready." Emma was crying in the wings. When her father Carlos called her, she said, "Papa, I don't think I can do it." Mija, Carlos's voice was trembling. "Do you know how proud I am of you? You're our miracle. And miracles do impossible things." This conversation motivated Emma again. The next day, she returned to the stage more determined. The day before the show, Emma panicked. What if I fall? What if I go the wrong way? What if... Marcus put his hand on her shoulder. Emma, you're not dancing in the dark anymore. You're dancing with your own light. The night of the show arrived. Emma was waiting backstage, her heart pounding wildly. The audience didn't know her story. They just thought they would see a dancer. When the music started, Emma took a deep breath. She took her first step, then the second, and suddenly, it was as if the whole world belonged to her. She was dancing, spinning, jumping. Every movement was perfect, as if she could see the stage. The audience initially watched silently, then one applause, then another, and when Emma took her final position, the entire hall was on their feet applauding. She could hear voices whispering, "How did she do that?" Backstage, her mother Maria was crying, "Mija, you're a miracle." Emma smiled. "No, Mom, I'm just dancing. Not in the dark, but with my own light." After that night, Emma's life changed. Invitations started coming, interviews, but most importantly, she began inspiring other visually impaired young people. A year later, Emma opened her own dance studio, Dancing in the Light. She taught dance to visually impaired children. She told each of them the same thing. Dance isn't done with sight, it's done with feeling. And your feeling is stronger than what everyone else sees. Emma Rodriguez was no longer the girl who learned to dance in the dark. She was a teacher who taught others how to find their own light. And every time she took the stage, just like that first night, her heart would pound with excitement. Only this time not from fear, but from the hope she was sharing. Seeing isn't just with the eyes, she would tell her students. Sometimes you see the most beautiful things with the eyes of your heart.